This is your Daily Detroit, recorded on Tuesday, April 16th, 2019. I'm Jer Stays.
And I'm Cheyenne Noserini. Let's get started, Jer, right after this. Today's update edition of the Daily Detroit podcast is brought to you in part by Milo Digital. They're a full-service digital agency, and you can learn more about them at milodetroit.com.
For Leonard Walker, it all started with a letter.
I had heard about Mr. Dan Gilbert building a senior building, so I actually wrote him a letter, not knowing that I would get an answer, but I got an answer from him. So then after I got the answer, I had a meeting with Mayor Duggan and Alexis Wiley. So Alexis Wiley got me in touch with everybody at Bedrock, and that's how I got in.
Leonard is the first resident of the Flats at 124 Alfred. The Flats are 54 apartments in Detroit's hot Brush Park neighborhood just east of Woodward, nestled between the stadiums. Today was the grand opening for the development, built as affordable housing for seniors 55 and older. In order to qualify as a resident here, seniors must make between about $15,000 and just under $30,000 a year. In some cases, their rent payment will be just $400 a month. It's part of an initiative to help keep Detroiters living in the city, as there are a lot of changes happening around here. Let me give you some context, as 124 Alfred might not mean much to you as a street address. It's kitty corner from that beautiful Ransom Gillis house that Nicole Curtis and the TV show Rehab Addict remade, and the neighborhood looks completely different now from what it did in the show. In 2015, the neighborhood had a few beautiful old houses left, but also a lot of empty urban prairie and a makeshift skate park. Now, 24 new buildings are rising with more than 400 units under construction as part of Bedrock's City Modern project, of which these flats are a part. This doesn't even count other projects that have been happening in the area. Some of these new places are selling for between $500,000 and $850,000 across the street. And here's the thing, they have buyers. All of this change in less than 5 years. That's why, according to City Council President Pro Tem Mary Sheffield, who represents District 5, developments like the Flats at 124 Alfred are important. Quality, affordable options for seniors are in short supply in the city of Detroit.
Yeah, I'm just excited because I understand the need for senior housing in the city. It's very, very often that you see a development that's strictly focused on just senior development and senior housing. And we have a huge senior population in our city with very few quality, affordable housing options for our seniors. So to have a brand new facility that is only focused on senior residents, I think is extremely important. And I'm just excited to be a part of the development.
Up on the stage, you talked about that your district has the highest number of senior housing. For listeners who may not be familiar, why don't you tell people a little bit about your district and why that matters?
So my district is probably the most diverse, has some of the biggest development going on, but then also represents some of the poorest neighborhoods. And then again, I mentioned I have a very high population of senior housing. And so it's important to me because I think oftentimes, and I don't think it's intentionally though, but sometimes seniors can be left out of the conversation because they don't have the voice to come advocate for things that they need. And so I've always had tried to be the voice for our senior citizens and making sure that they are aware of the new projects that are taking place, if they want to maybe transition from where they are to new housing, and also just advocate for new housing overall within the city of Detroit.
And for Leonard Walker, this development matters.
Oh man, this is wonderful. It's the second best thing that's happened to me, and I'm right downtown. I can walk everywhere I need to go, or either catch the Q line or the bus schedule, and then it's affordable, and then it's just grand. You just have to look at it to see, and I love it.
The sales and service building at the old Ford Highland Park plant site is up for sale. Plans for an automotive heritage welcome center have fallen through, and so the 48,000 square foot building along Woodward is available. Designed by Albert Kahn, it's one of the few pieces of the formerly sprawling factory remaining. That plant was the birthplace of the modern assembly line and the $5 a day wage.
It's amazing how we ignore our history around here. This place has been sitting empty for a long time. Most other cities would have done something with it. This one's beautiful, at least to me. It's kind of sad to see it empty.
It's beautiful to me too. Every single time I drive down Woodward, I look at that building and I think, what could we do with it? It's just sitting there, just dilapidated. Aretha Franklin was awarded a posthumous Pulitzer Prize for her, quote, indelible contribution to American music and culture for more than 5 decades. Other notable special citation prizes have gone to artists John Coltrane, Bob Dylan, and Hank Williams. Franklin is the first individual woman to receive the Special Citation Prize.
The Washington Post has a story you should read about how the measles spread from Brooklyn to Detroit and the race to track down the man who unwittingly brought the disease. We'll include a link in the show notes.
Before we go, I want to talk about Spam and melon dip.
Okay, Cheyenne, let's. And, well, that sounds disgusting.
Well, yesterday you and Sven were talking about the state fair development deal, and I immediately thought of Aunt Chris's, rest her soul, annual worst entry to the food competition at the state fair. Spam and melon dip.
I'm terrified to ask this, but what did this creation taste like?
Well, it was like almost 20 years ago, but my recollection is it was sweet and mushy and salty and a big bowl of no.
Well, the state fairgrounds have had a lot of memories for folks over the years, but that one, I think I could have done without.
That'll do it for the show today. Thanks, Jer, for heading downtown to get that story.
Of course.
And thanks for listening. If you want to help keep this show going, join us at patreon.com/dailydetroit. I'm Cheyenne Noserini.
And I'm Jer Stays. Take care of each other, and we'll see you around Detroit.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.